Hello, everybody. I needed to do a revisit, and it may be one or two. I'm not really sure here. I'm going to just simply revisit this project. I did it back in March, so ignore the title because the title, YouTube is stupid about titles. It'll change. I want to do this revisit now because it's starting to jump because of the things that they're doing. They're doing a lot of good stuff, and it's important. I did the initial, and I encourage you to go and take a look at the initial that I did back in March 11th. It's in the archives, also on the podcast, cryptotalkradio.net. Check it out. It's Crypto Vault Token. So don't let the title fool you because YouTube's stupid about the title. It'll change here in a second. Here's the problem that I struggled with Crypto Vault Token back in the day. When this first launched, right, we had a number of things happening. They did a pre-sale. And after they did the pre-sale, there were people there was a lot of hype, shill. I can only describe it as shill on social media with this project. And then it crapped. It just completely crapped out and has never recovered since. It's never gotten back to what it was before. But recently, after the crap out and it did this, the person behind this is a formed business. This is actually a business formed in Wyoming, state of Wyoming, out in the U.S., and the guy's name is Desmond, I believe. And he's been making changes. It's obvious. In my original coverage, I said that this one had arguably one of the best white papers in the business. I said that they're showing names and faces. I said it has real world utility. The real world utility is still clear and apparent. They're issuing the certificates. So they're getting some stuff going here. They got on an exchange. It's a smaller exchange. Never heard of it. But here was where I started to have an issue. I saw on the site, they made changes. The site's completely different to what it was before. That's fine. But the white paper that I put over heavy is gone. So if Desmond's listening to this, Desmond, I would tell you, get that white paper back on there. I don't know why you took it off. I don't know what made sense to take it off. Get that white paper back on there because you had one of the best white papers in the business. And the white paper, of course, was the only way, as I recall, to be able to see faces and names, which is very important. And Crypto Vault, as a registered business, has a LinkedIn presence. So already I knew they're doing good things. They're doing great things, but for whatever reason, they've shifted where now they're not putting their stuff back on that white paper and on the site. And I don't know why it's now different. I don't have that answer. And I would recommend that we change this. Desmond now shows as in Pennsylvania as opposed to Wyoming. It's formed in Wyoming, but he's in Pennsylvania. So either he moved or he, something's changed with the business and he hasn't updated the filing. I'm not sure. And then we got two other folks. I don't know if they were still there from before, but something's happening with Crypto Vault because it is now doing some positive price movement from where it was before. It's having a little bit of trend back up, not significant. The volume is way low, but it's having a little bit of price movement up. Here's where it had the initial pump, and then arguably the shillers dumped on the project and it was struggling to recover. And recently we're starting to see a little bit of a run up, some of which is me. But the point is, there's something happening with the Crypto Vault project. For those that don't know, the Crypto Vault project is real world utility. It issues certificates and you can lock crypto in the certificate and distribute it to somebody. If you're outside the crypto bubble or you're trying to deal with somebody that's not really versed in crypto, it's like the most awesome way to simplify the crypto distribution process, which is why I put it over so hot and heavy, because I felt he was onto something when he started this project. And I was not happy to see him go after shillers. Now, back then, I reached out via social media and I offered my help to try to keep things on track and get things back on track when it dumped. Never heard anything back. Desmond, if you're listening to this, I still have the olive branch. I can still help you because I see you still have the strong utility. You still have a great project here. Unfortunately, because of the shiller approach up front, they dumped on it. It's never recovered. I don't want to see you like the next para token because I see you have a beautiful project. When I ran this through the audit, MarketMove.ai has some really good results. There were some concerns but nothing that I think is insurmountable. The main thing that stood out to me was, of course, that the ownership's not renounced as I expected it wouldn't be, because this is still a really newish project. It's only been a couple of months since I did the original coverage. The other thing I noticed, this has a supply of, I believe, 1 trillion, and then it does a burn whenever people issue the certificates. So it's down to like 700 billion, just shy of 800 billion in circulating supply. So the burns are actually working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But then the max transaction is 10 quadrillion, and it doesn't even have that much supply possible. So I don't know why that is. But one of the things people were complaining about back when this was at its peak was the amount of sell tax, because the sell tax can be changed because it's not renounced. And they were changing fees to try to deal with the sell-offs and the dumping. So they would bump the sell tax like 25%. The buy tax at the time was like 18%. People were really pissed off about the tax changes, even though it was clear what he was trying to do. He was trying to get people to stop dumping on the token. It didn't work, because once you had done the shill approach and those shillers bought in prior to their shill, this on the pre-sale, on pink sale, they had so many tokens off that one, it was going to dump, which was my issue with some of these other projects like the stacked finance. And I told them, this is why I don't like pink sale. It's not your fault. I'm saying I don't like pink sale pre-sales because it allows the shillers to more easily dump on your project, and it's harder to recover once that's happened. For anybody who's listening to this after the fact, this is one of the most beautiful projects there is in cryptocurrency, because it's creating utility outside the crypto bubble. There's nothing wrong with the project at all. What happened was they did the pre-sale, and the pre-sale allowed shillers who were in full force when this was out there to dump on the project, and it's had a hard time recovering. It's still one of the most beautiful projects in all of cryptocurrency, because it's trying to solve a real world problem, which is it's hard to understand how to get into cryptocurrency. It's hard to transfer crypto to other people. I had Josh Segala on my show, and he talked about, as people die or people transfer ownership, how do you manage the transfer of cryptocurrency if it's locked in a wallet where only one person has the mnemonic? Let's say your grandfather or somebody had a wallet and they staked a bunch of Bitcoin and sat on it, and then they passed away and they never passed along the private key or the mnemonic down to their kids. Now all that money's stuck in that wallet, and it's hard to get access. Impossible, no. Point is, it's hard to get it. So how do you solve that problem? Crypto Vault created what I arguably believe was one of the best solutions to the problem. The only thing that held them back was the fact that there were shillers in full force, and second, the pre-sale, which allowed them to dump off the project straight off scratch, and it's had a hard time recovering. The volume is at all-time lows. It's not an unhealthy state, but the volume is simply low. I know the team has been working really hard to try to get it back on track, and they're doing a lot of stuff to get more traction and visibility into the project. My only point to Desmond, if he's listening, and everybody else, you're missing the two things that made your project stand out in a crowd. Number one, you had the best white paper in the business, and for some reason it's no longer on your site, and I don't know why that would be. It was one of the best white papers in the business. Serious investors are going to look for that white paper, get it back on the site ASAP, and I question why you took it off in the first place. Second, and this was in the white paper, you had names, you had faces, you have a LinkedIn, so clearly you're not hiding from the smoke. So why are you removing all that stuff from the site, all these fundamental things that are inherent to crypto? Get them back on the site so people can do research about what you're doing. Then, most importantly, tell the story about what happened, right? You launched this and you had the vision, you did the pre-sale, they dumped on you off the pre-sale. Tell the story that you're still here and you're going to keep on kicking it until you get things back on track. That's how you inspire serious investors to believe in the product. This is a great project in what it's doing, but these gaps, as far as missing white paper, removing the faces, removing the names, and everything else, cause me concern of why you would do these things. Why are you doing that stuff? Don't do that. Put more information out there. Also, some of the information that used to be here, otherwise, like some of the blog posts and the mediums, are gone. Testimonials are great from the product perspective. It doesn't help the investor as far as what the investor needs to know. You have a buy and burn when they buy the certificate. That should be, you briefly mention it in one bullet up here, but you need to tell the story about what you're really trying to do. I don't think you do a good enough job, in my opinion, of telling the story of what got you here and why you're doing what you're doing and why this was inspired by your, what you did. I wanted to do XYZ. Tell the story that used to be here. It's not here anymore. Why? Why are you removing all that? That was your standout, is people got a chance to see the person behind the project and understand that it's legit business in this case, Wyoming. and tell the story what happened. Why are you now in Pennsylvania? Did you move? Are you moving the business? Tell the story. Tell your investor or potential investors what you're doing and why it makes sense as they make a decision as to why they're buying the project. Everything else should be all about community. Organic community, I believe you have a strong community support. You have a small number of holders, but you have a strong community support. Leverage your community to spread the word to other people, helping them tell the story outside the crypto bubble to their friends and family of why this makes sense. Think about it. You've got tons of people. If we accept there's only 8% of the population in cryptocurrency, you got tons of people who can't be arsed to deal with wallets and all this garbage. This is your solution to this. Anybody can do it. Sell that. When you have on your site that all you got to do is how it works and go to this video and then set up an account and then create certificates and then use the testimonials to tell the rest of the story, it sells itself. But you're missing other fundamentals too, because the people who would most likely sell it for you are the legit crypto investors. So you need the white paper back on there. You need your faces and names back on there. You need the story that you were telling before about your inspiration and what got you here back on there. Get all that stuff back on there. You've removed all the crypto specific things. Get them back on there. You need to tell that story. If you don't tell the story, people are not going to resonate with why they should care about your project. Just the fact that it's a product is not enough in most of these crypto folks. They also want to hear the other side of the thing. Build your community, and the rest of it should flow naturally. If you're in it already and you're part of the community and you're listening to this, again, Crypto Vault is one I watched from the beginning when it first launched. And my only complaint at that time, was them going after shillers because I knew what was going to happen. The second complaint after the fact was them going pre-sale because I think that made the shillers and made it easier for them to dump on the project. I reached out and never heard back from Desmond to say, let me help you here because I think you got something, but you're going to need to not make these mistakes, and never heard back. This is my olive branch to Desmond. I can possibly help you get back on track because I think you're onto something and you have strong utility. And I think it's just a matter of getting your messaging back on track, getting back the stuff that you already had. That means it's easy. Like we can simply tell that story again, and the rest should be community, and the community will help spread the word once there's more of the community out there. CryptoVault.net, if you want to check it out. And our original coverage is in the archive. If you search the word Vault against our account, you'll come up back in March when we originally covered it. You'll hear me say, one of the best white papers in the business. I had nothing but praise for the project. I just didn't like that they did the pre-sale and the fact that they had shillers on in force. Same with Stacked Finance, where again, the pre-sale was just kind of the death knell for it. But other than that, I still think it's one of the best projects out there, and I want to see it succeed. I want to see projects like this that have utility succeed, but they've got to put the core fundamentals back in place, or they're going to have a hard time recovering from the damage that was done before. In the short term, the bear period is perfect for projects like this because you can stack these Bitcoin or whatever into a certificate and then just sit on it and not have to worry about wallets or anything else, even distribute them. There's use cases. They talked about graduation gifts and all that. Great. Now let's tell that story, but also you need to inspire people. Inspire why this was the thing, why you created the thing, answer some of the fundamentals that I called out, tell the story and get more people hyped up about it, not in a shiller fashion, but in a fundamentals fashion. And then you should be fine after that one.